Welcome back to my channel, ladies and gentlemen. Back to new with Anthony Goodson. Thank you guys for being here with me today. All right, so we have a Cavalier stowaway MCM that I found on the street. So I got this one for free, and it's a pretty nice piece. I think it has some issues on the legs, and you'll see what we do with that here in just a little bit. A couple little blemishes throughout, and we fixed those. Customary drawer that has the, I don't know what that is, some kind of oxygen so your clothes can breathe. But anyway, this is an MCM. I'm gonna roll this thing around, take a look from the bottom and from the back. It looks like maybe there was some water damage on it before I got to it. So they tried to do a makeshift. I don't know what 10 different kind of products, glass, iron, metal, wood, nails, everything that they put together here. The one side looks good. I guess that's the right side. And of course, this Cavalier has like this customary look, as you can see down at the bottom of the dresser, where it kind of comes in. That's a very customary look. I'm gonna do the best I can to attempt to save that. Now the first thing I have to do is unscrew this monstrosity that they put together that I'm sure is the reason why they decided to throw this thing out. See, the wood is all rotted out, eaten up. I'm sure water did that. I'm sure not an animal. So then I went out and I bought some 2x4s, or it's not quite a 2x4. I'm trying to measure it up so that I can duplicate what they have on the other side. Now this is sped up because it took forever to do. It seemed like it was very quick, but this is sped up 20 times. And also, I didn't show this in the video, but I cut out a piece that looks very similar to the other side. And so what I'm doing is I'm doing all that I can to duplicate the other side as best as I can anyways. And it looks good from back here, but it didn't really work. Aesthetically, it didn't work. So it would have worked as far as just sitting it down on its bottom, but it wouldn't have looked good. So I didn't want to, I'm going to sell this. I don't want to sell a product to someone that just doesn't look good. So what I want to do first is go ahead and clean this thing up. And now I'm just going to tear it apart. I got to come up with something completely new. It was nicely made. It had all the right pieces to this. And I just wish that I could have salvaged the way that it looked, because it was so strong and nicely made on this side. But I took the whole thing off the bottom. It was satisfying kind of watching that dry up. Then I had to do the hand scraping. Sometimes hand scraping is okay. It was tough getting in those crevices, but I got in there. I had all the right tools this time. And I'm complete with the sanding. Whew. So what I wanted to do was restain this, since it was such a classic vintage piece, but I couldn't because I didn't have any extra veneer, so I had to put some wood putty and all that in there. And this piece here, I was gonna keep it, but because I was putting legs on it, I had to remove it. And it had no use. It's not like I had the keys to it anyway. So to remove it is what I had to do. You see, I'm putting those legs on there, and it got in the way, which is the reason why I did it. I wanted to keep the original legs. I know I've said that many times before. And I also wanted to keep some of the same aesthetic to it. I wanted to sand it down and just stain it, but I couldn't because of all of this putty that I put on here. And I could have used some wood putty, did that, but it was just hard veneer. So I decided to just go ahead and paint the top. I actually saw another video or another some photos of one that was restored. It was black and I think white or something. Or maybe it was naturally stained in white. I can't remember. I'll put the picture here if I can find it. I had to create my own new look. Now you see the keyhole right there, which was to the piece that I just took out earlier. I'm gonna leave the keyhole in here and I'm actually gonna paint over it. I started to take it out, but I didn't see the need for that. After I finish all the sanding, I got a tack cloth, and those things are kind of sticky, so I wear my gloves with it, at least on that right hand. And I cleaned it down and wiped it down so that I can get all the extra dust off. And then I started to paint. Now, this is just a big painting job. You're gonna watch a lot of painting. I wanna tell y'all a funny little story. So, when I was in high school, I used to go to Walmart all the time. And I would oftentimes hear them say, I need a CSM to the front, please, a CSM to the front. So I go in, day out. I need a CSM to the front, please. I need a CSM to the front. So I used to hear this all the time. And from time to time, I would go about 20 or 30 miles from my hometown and I would still hear it at the front. I just assumed that maybe a CIA, worked at different locations. So 20, 30 miles away from my house, I need a CSM to the front. I need a CSM to the front. And I heard this often. I'm 18, 19 years old. Then one day, I went off to college. And when I went off to college, I was feeling a little bit homesick. So I went to Walmart in the college that I went to, not knowing a whole lot of people there. But when I got to Walmart, I heard them say over the loudspeaker, I need a CSM to the front, please, a CSM. Feeling homesick, I went to the front and I wanted to rush and see somebody from my home and just kind of have a conversation about home and just talk to them because that would make me feel a little bit better, I guess. So I get to the front and I asked the young lady up front, I said, hey, is a Sia available? And she said, who? I said, a Sia. She said, I'm not sure who that is. I said, you just called her just a moment ago. You asked for a Sia Sims. She said, no. I asked for a CSM, customer service manager. Yeah, I put my head between my legs and never went to Walmart again, at least till the next day. All right, y'all. Wanted to give y'all that quick story. Now we are back to painting. And it's brown. It's coming out very, very nice. And so this whole base is going to be brown, outside, the top, the bottom. Now, what to do with these? Fortunately, I had no real issues with these right here. So what I wanted to do was keep the natural part. And so I said, well, I'll stain it. And then I decided to do more of a gel stain. And so I went and got this smoke gray. So technically the color that I wanted is not the color that I got, even though I bought what looks like a smoke gray. I mean, that's what it looked like on the can. But when I put it on here, it came out to be way more gray than I expected. But, I thought, I do believe in happy accidents sometimes. So I decided to keep the color because I wasn't sure how it was going to actually look against that brown that I'd already painted. So I went ahead and did all four of them just to get a good idea. I knew a worst case scenario, I could just, even though I didn't want to, I could just re-sand it. Hey y'all, don't forget to go and subscribe, push the like button, comment, and let me remind you of what it looked like before. And here's the after.